Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the workshop on research methodology and academic publication, special focus on use of scientific tools and software. I hope yesterday's session on introduction to research methodology and use and importance of scientific tools for research was a fruitful learning. It gives me immense pleasure today to introduce our distinguished speaker for today's session, Dr. Manash Pratim Barman, Sir, Associate Professor, Department of Statistics, Dibrugarh University. Sir has an elaborate career and he has a PhD in biostatistics from Dibrugarh University and has 14 years of teaching and research experience in Dibrugarh University. Sir has also extended his services as a statistician in Regional Medical Research Center, Northeast Region, Dibrugarh. In his illustrious career spanning over almost 18 years, Barman Sir, to his credit, have 34 publications in Journal of Repute and 12 chapters in edited books. He also has edited 2 books to his credit. 8 scholars have already successfully completed their MPhil under Dr. Barman Sir, and currently he is guiding 7 PhD scholars. Today, he will be delivering his speech on sampling methods and techniques, which I'm confident will benefit all our participants. With this short introduction, I would like to hand over the platform to Barman Sir. But before that, a quick reminder that the session feedback will be shared after we complete both the sessions for the day, and your session code for the first session is CUP, C-U-P-CUP. Thank you all for joining. Now I would like to hand over the platform for the technical session to Barman Sir. Sir, welcome, and the stage is all yours. Sir, you are muted.
Oh, now I think it is audible.
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. Thank you. And
Yes,
at first, I want to thanks the organizing committee for giving me the opportunity to speak in this workshop. Today, my topic will be I think share is okay now. Everything seen my share.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So today my topic is sampling methods and techniques. Okay, so this is my today's topic. Now, why sample? Why sampling? Why sampling is so important? That lies in the definition of statistics. So sampling is an integral part of statistics. So there are a lot of definition of statistics, but I want to give this definition of statistics. Statistics is the science of decision making under uncertainty, and so this is the science of decision making under uncertainty. So here we make decisions. Decision about what? We make decision about the population. Suppose we have a population and we want to know something about this population. Okay. So what we do in actually it is not every time it is possible to study the whole population, because it may be very large, and it takes a lot of time, lot of money. So it is not always possible to study the whole population. So what we do, we take a sample, and from this, you see, from this population we take a sample and we study this sample. It's a small portion of the population. From this population we study a small sample, and from this sample we give decision about the population. Okay, so this is the basic the basic theme of statistics. So here we study a small sample out of the population, and from this sample we make decision about the sample. But these decisions are not certain. It's uncertainty, because we are not studying the whole population. We are taking a small sample. Now, that's why it's that decision we are taking is not 100% accurate, may not be accurate. So to get a good decision, we need to have a good sample. We need to have a representative sample, good representative sample of the population. The population may be very much heterogeneous. Suppose I want to study the population of Dibrugarh district. So the Dibrugarh district population is very much heterogeneous. It has different types of people, different people belonging to different castes. Okay, so it is a very heterogeneous population. Rich people are there, poor people are there. There are forest areas, there are flood affected areas. So it's a very heterogeneous population. So we have to take the sample in such a way that it is a representative of the whole population. And there comes the sampling method. So we have to take the sample in such a way that we have to take, we can get a good sample, a good representative sample, so that we can make better decision about the population. Okay. Now, let me take 5 minutes about the study design. So, to collect data, we need to have good study design also. So, the study design is basically divided into two parts. One is observational and one is experimental. So, these are the basic study design. There are two types of study design. One is observational, one is experimental, right? Now, what is observational design? Observational and experimental study. In observational studies, investigator observe individual without manipulation and intervention. The investigator observes the study subject and record the information. In observational study design, what we do, we just observe and collect the information. Okay. And in experimental studies, what we do, we intervene. We intervene with the study subject. Then it is called an experimental design. Suppose I am conducting a study on smoking behavior. Okay, so suppose if I study only whether he is smoker or not, this type of study, then it's okay. It is an observational design. If I aware him about the bad habits of smoking, that means we intervene, and that reduces the smoking. That may reduces the smoking behavior. Na? So that is a type of intervention. We intervene with the awareness. So actually, experimental studies are very much used in medical studies. Suppose I am conducting a study on hypertension. So if I collect the information on hypertension and measure the hypertension and collect the information, then it is a observational study. If I give some medicine to them and collect the information, that is called intervention study. So in observational study, we only observe the things and collect the information, and in experimental studies, what we do, we intervene with the study subject. Okay. Now, observational study are of two types. One is descriptive study and one is analytical study. Descriptive study, in descriptive study, questions like who, what, when, and where were studied. Okay, we study this type of questions: who, what, when, where. And in analytical studies, we study questions like why and how. So in descriptive study, we study questions like who means who are the people who are affected with this something. Suppose I want to study suppose about prevalence of a particular disease, right? Okay. Actually, my field of study is biostatistics. I usually work in health studies, so my examples will be basically based on health studies. Okay, so for don't mind about this. Actually, suppose I want to study the prevalence of a particular disease. Okay, if I study who are the people are infected, what is the disease that is infecting more people, and when whether it is a seasonal disease or something like this, when it occurs maximum frequency, and where, in which places, in forest area or this. If this type of study we conducted, then it is called a descriptive study. And if we want to find the occurrence, the reason from why this disease is happening, then it is called analytical studies. So in descriptive study, we study questions like who, what, when, where, and in analytical studies, we study questions like how and where why disease is happening. Then it will be an analytical study. So there are not number of studies under descriptive and analytical design. So I just want to mention two studies. These are very much used in health studies. It can be also used in social sciences also. That's why I'm mentioning these two studies. One is case control study, that is a retrospective study, and this is a very much popular design in health studies. Here we take actually two group of people. Suppose I want to see whether smoking is a risk factor, or whether smoking is associated with the developing of hypertension or not. I want to see whether smoking is a factor for developing hypertension or not. Then I have to see that I want to find the then can use this model. So here we have to take two type of people. One is disease people, then it's called cases. One is non-disease people, then it's called controls. So we have to take two group of people by taking random sample. Okay, from this type of table, we have to find whether they are exposed or not. Exposed means those people who are smokers, exposed to the disease, and those people who are not exposed. Okay, then from the disease people, from the cases, we also find two type of people. One is exposed, non-exposed, and for non-disease people also we can find two types of person. One is exposed and non-exposed. And from this, we can do a lot of analysis. We can find the risk of developing the disease if a person is smoker. Or this can be very easily used in social sciences also to find the risk of a particular behavior. Okay. Then the next study is this study is called retrospective. Why it is called retrospective? Because here we study the past. Okay. Here, suppose we select these two group of people, this case and control. Now from these cases, we want to study their exposure behavior, whether in the past, we are asking about the past. Okay, that's why it is called retrospective study. We are asking about their past, whether you are a smoker or not. We are asking about their past. Then it is called a retrospective study. The next is a prospective study design. It is called cohort study. Here we take what? We take a random sample first here, then we follow them up. This is the present. You see here, this is the present, and we follow them up. Okay, and after some time of, suppose we take a group of people and we follow them up. These people may be divided into two parts. In the due course of time, some people may be smokers, some people may be non-smoker, and if we further follow them up, some people may develop disease, some people may not do not develop the disease among the smokers. Same thing about the non-smoker also. So this is a very longitudinal study. You have to follow up the person for a long time. That's why this particular design is very rarely used. Actually, case control study is very extensively used, but the results we got from the prospective study are very much accurate than the retrospective study. So these are the two designs for analytical study. Okay. Now so characteristics of a descriptive study: characterize who, where, or when in relation to the outcome. I think you understand what is this. Person, who means person, characteristic, age, sex, composition. Who are getting the disease? At which age they are getting the disease? At which gender is more affected by the disease? Okay. So this type of condition we can study. Who. Then place, where, geography, residence, workplace, affected individual. Then time, when. Okay. Now let's go to sampling. Now population. Now before starting sampling, we must know what is population. Population is the aggregate of living or non-living beings of similar things. In census survey, which is also known as population survey or complete enumeration survey, the information are collected from each and every unit of the population. So in census, what we do, we collect the information from each and every individual. Okay, we collect information from each and every individual, but it is not actually always good to collect information from all the people, because it may be very large. Now, as I have already told you, the population may be very large, so it is not always possible. In India also, the population census is conducted every 10 years because it is not possible to conduct this for every year. Okay, so there is a gap of 10 years in the population survey. So this gap can be mitigated by using sampling. So there is a gap of 10 years between every census. So the information within that period, within that census period, intercensal is called intercensal period. The time between two censuses is called intercensal period. That the information from intercensal period can be collected through sample survey. So sample survey is very important for getting information. So sampling is a part or a fraction of population selected from on some basis. Okay. So sampling, what is sampling? Sampling is a part or fraction of population selected on some basis. Sample consists of few items of population. In principle, a sample should be such that it is true representative of the population. The sample is a process of learning about the population on the basis of the part of the population. So in sampling, what we do, we use some method to take a representative group from the population. Okay, need for sampling. I think I have written something about the need. Lack of resources in terms of money, personnel, and equipment. So actually, to study the whole population, we need lot of money, lot of manpower, lot of equipments. So it is not always available to us. So we cannot use census every time. So in that case, sampling will be more beneficial. The data may be wasteful if data are not collected with time limit. So to conduct the population census, we need lot of time. So the time limit is also there. That's why we use sampling. Sampling remains the only way when population contains infinitely many number of units. Okay, and greater accuracy. Why greater accuracy? We are taking a small group, from the whole population, though it has greater accuracy because in sample we can use trained persons. Okay, in population census we need lot of people and there may not be well educated, well trained. That's why the collected data are of poor quality. Okay, so in census we can use some educated people, some trained people, then the collection of data, quality of the data will be good than the census. Now these terms are very essential for sampling method. Sampling method, these are the terms used in sampling technology. Sampling method means the manner or scheme under which the required number of units are selected in a sample from the population. Sampling unit, the constituent of the population which are individuals to be sampled from the population and cannot be further subdivided. Sampling units means the objects or study subjects that are going to be sampled. Suppose I want to study the students to conduct some study about the students of our university, Dibrugarh University. So each and every student is a sampling unit. They may be selected to the sample. Okay, they may be or may not be selected, and each and every individual is a sampling unit. Sampling frame. Sampling frame is actually the list. Okay, for adopting any sampling procedure, it is essential to have a list or map of identifying each sampling unit under a unit by a number. Okay, such list is called sampling frame. That means when we have to conduct a sampling method, then sampling frame is very essential. We need to have an up-to-date sampling frame. Suppose I want to conduct a study on the students of Dibrugarh University. So first of all, what we have to do before taking the sample, what we have to do, I have to make a list of all the students and giving them a unique number. Okay, let me show you a sampling frame. So this is a sampling frame. Suppose I have taken some individuals. So suppose I have a population of 300 individuals. Okay. So I have to list them. So we have 3 individual items, and I have to list them one by one. So this is one. This person is given number 1. This person is given number 2. So this list is very important while using sampling method. So I have to first, these all are called sampling units. This person is a sampling unit. This person is a sampling unit. This person is a sampling unit, right? And I'm giving all of them a unique number. So this list is called a sampling frame. So first of all, before conducting the sampling, we need to have a proper sampling frame of all the sampling units, right? Then sampling techniques. So there are 2 types of sampling techniques. One is probability, non-probability sample, and one is probability sample. So let us discuss about non-probability sample and probability sample. Non-probability sample, here the selection of sampling units entirely depend upon the choice of the investigator. Okay. In non-sampling and non-probability sampling, the selection of the sampling units entirely depend on the choice of the investigator. Okay. So here in probability sampling, actually the investigator has nothing to do with the selection. Okay, it will depend on the probability. Okay, but in non-probability sampling, the whole thing depends on the investigator. He may select anybody. Okay. So some non-probability sampling are purposive sampling. Here the sample is drawn from a population based entirely on the personal judgment of the investigator. Okay. Actually, in my earlier part of my career, I was actually involved in a study on malaria in Upper Assam. Okay, I want to give the importance of purposive sampling. In sometimes purposive sampling is far better than the simple random sampling. I want to give an example. So in that project, in the study, we have to conduct a study on malaria. Okay. Now in Upper Assam, we have number of districts, 7 or 8 districts that time. So from that district, I have to select 2 districts, right? Now what we can do, we can make a sampling, simple random sampling. If I use simple random sampling, then any of the districts may be selected. Maybe Dibrugarh selected, but that does not have anything to do with me, with the investigator. Okay, but if I select Dibrugarh district, suppose if I use random number, then Dibrugarh district is selected. Then what will be the problem? There are very less number of malaria cases. So if I conduct a study on malaria cases in Dibrugarh, then the results will not be fruitful. So I need to find some place where the malaria is very, very high, prevalence is very high. That's why we have purposively we have select 2 districts. If I use random number that time, random number sampling method that time, then it will be the results will not be very, very fruitful. That may be a district may be selected which don't have any malaria cases, very less malaria cases. So in that case, we cannot have very good number, we cannot get good results. So what we do at that time, we do not use the simple random sampling method. We use purposive sampling and selected those districts where malaria cases is very high. Okay, so in certain cases, you should not apply simple random probability sampling method because in that case, I have given you an example where purposive sampling is better than the simple random sampling. Okay, so in some cases, probabilities and non-probability sampling is better in certain situations. Okay, then quota sampling. Here, quotas are fixed according to basic parameters of the population determined earlier, and each field investigator is assigned with quotas of a number of elementary units to be interviewed. So in quota sampling, we find some quotas. Suppose I want to find only the males and above 50 years. Okay, so this is the quota. I want to survey only this group. Okay, so this is the second sampling. Then we have convenience sampling. Here the sample is obtained by selecting convenience population of the elements from the population. here a sample is obtained by selecting convenient population elements from the population. Suppose I want to give an example. Let's we are conducting a survey on the feedback of a newly released Assamese movie. Suppose I want to know the feedback of a newly released Assamese movie. Okay. Now, for conducting a survey, we need to construct a list. We need to find a suppose I have to, if I have to use simple random sampling or probability sampling, I need to find a sampling frame. That means we have to list all those people who have seen the movie, but it is not possible, na? So in that case, what we have to do? So it is not possible to find a list of people who have seen the movie. It will be a huge task to survey all the people who are seen the movie. So what we do in that case? So we may have to restore to standing outside the cinema hall and grabbing whichever come out of the door of the cinema hall after enjoying that movie. So that is a convenience sampling. In that case also, simple probability sampling may not be fruitful, because in probability sample we have to find and make a list, but the making of list is not possible in that case. Okay. Then sequential sampling. Here a number of sample lots are drawn one after another from the population depending on the results of the earlier sample drawn from the same population. So it is used in suppose production process like this, sequential sampling. Okay. Then this is one of this is snowball sampling. Is a part of non-probability sampling. It is a restrictive multi-stage sampling in which initially a certain number of sampling units are randomly selected. Okay, here what we do, a certain number of persons, okay, are randomly selected first, and later additional sampling units are selected based on referral system. This sampling is called a referral sampling method. Here one person refers others. Okay, one person refers others. Suppose actually this sampling method is used when we have to study hard to reach population. Suppose there are some hard to reach population, means it is also called hidden population. If I want to study hidden population means the populations, the people who have, suppose I want to study some behavior of the people. Okay, and people don't want to disclose that he is possessing this behavior. So in that case, it is very difficult to reach that person because it is not apparent. Suppose I want to know want to study the smokers and non-smokers. So it will be very easy for me to study the smoking behavior. But I want to study some particular trait of the people, which is not very easy to find out. Suppose I want to study the injecting drug users. Okay, I want to study the behaviors of the injecting drug users. So people don't want to disclose that I am injecting drug user. So this type of population is called hard to reach population or hidden population. Okay, so for first conducting this hidden type of population, suppose I want to conduct a study on thieves. Okay, so nobody calls identify himself as a thief. So in that case, we have to use this snowball sampling. Here what we have to do, we have to first find out some thieves, and he refer the other thief because he knows the others, no? So he refers the others. So that way it is called referral system method. So first one person, he refers two person here, then this person refers three, like this. It goes like this. So this is called a snowball sampling. Okay, snowball sampling is a chain referral sampling that relies on referrals from initial subjects to generate additional subjects. So we first find out some initial subjects, and from them I have to generate other subjects by referring. Snowball sampling is a non-probability sampling. Okay, it is used under participants that are difficult to locate in general population: homeless people, illegal drug users, sex workers, population suffering for rare disease like this. So if I want to study this type of population, then I have to use snowball sampling. It's a referral system. Snowball sampling allows to estimate the social network or partial network of hidden population. So there are three types of snowball sampling: linear snowball sampling, If one person refers only one person, then one person refers one, then it is called a linear snowball sampling. Exponential or non-discriminative sampling, if one person refers more than one, then he refers again more than one, like this, then it is called a exponential. And exponential discriminative sampling, if like it is go like this, okay? If this person refers to, and we study only one, okay, this person this person refers to persons, but we refers only one, we study only one, then it is called exponentially discriminative sampling. Okay, there is strength, good method to find out hidden population, useful to create sample group where it is difficult to find participants. It is a method easily gives the identity of the study subject. Impossible to find out sampling error. Okay, snowball sampling cannot be considered as a representative of the entire population. Produce biased samples. So these are some weaknesses: an over representation of character of respondent having a higher network. So these are some strengths and weaknesses of the snowball sampling. Then a advanced version of snowball sampling is the respondent driven sampling. It is also a referral system. It is used to study hidden population. This sampling procedure combines snowball sampling with a mathematical model that weights the sample to compensate for the fact that the sample was collected in random way. RDS, this in abbreviation this is called RDS. RDS is applied for sampling to hard to reach groups that are small relative to the general population and for which no exhaustive list of population numbers is available. So for this type of for hard to reach population, we cannot find a sampling frame. We cannot find a list of people who have possess these characteristics. Okay, so for that we have to use respondent driven sampling. Okay, and a new approach was studied by hidden population it was introduced by Douglas a hackathon in 1997. Chain referral link tracking network sampling method based on social network theory. Useful when traditional sampling methods are infeasible due to lack of sampling frame. So we cannot construct a sampling frame for hard to reach people. It is very difficult for us. So in that case, we have to use respondent driven sampling. Okay, primarily used to hard to reach population, hidden population. Actually, this respondent driven sampling is a incentive based sampling actually. Okay, here what we actually it was first as far as I know, it was first used in India in around 2005 when Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation sanctioned a lot of money to study about the HIV patients. Okay, in that some portion of the money came to Northeast also, and here we actually I was also a part of that study. I was involved as a data management specialist in that study, and we were trained about to this sampling method. In that method, we studied the injecting drug user and sex workers of Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, like 3 or 4 states. And here, what is in this method? What we do? We first find one person, 3 persons actually. We find first. Suppose I want to conduct a study on injecting drug users. So first of all, what we do? We conduct. Select first of all. We select 3 persons, right? So like this. With first this here in this graph we have selected 1 person. Suppose this is called seed. Okay, this is called seed. The first person is called seed, and we collected data from him. We collected his behavior from the seed, the first person. Okay, and we pay him for giving the data. Okay, then we ask him to refer 3 of his peers who have possessing the same behavior, because he know who are the people who inject drugs, right? So he referred 3 people, 1, 2, 3. So again we have to pay him for referring the people. So he was paid twice, for first of all for giving the information, and second for referring some other people. So we move to him. Then again we pay him for giving his data and referring 3 persons. Like it goes like this. It's like wave. This is wave 1, this is wave 2, and wave 3, like this. It goes on like this. Okay. At some point of time in this wave, a equilibrium position. There are some methods to calculate the equilibrium of the data. So equilibrium position reaches. So when we reach the equilibrium, so that time we can call that sample as a random sample. So you can use statistical methods there. Okay. So this is the basic structure of a RD set sampling. First of all, we select one person, that is called seed, and from that seed he referred 3 persons. Okay. From 3 person we again move to person, and we decide based on an incentive system. So it's very actually not that easy method to collect the data. Okay, so this is all about RD set sampling, right? Now probability sampling. Now what is the basic what is the main problem with the non-probability sampling is that if you use non-probability sampling, then you cannot use inferential method, right? And that means what I have already told you, that what is statistics? Statistics is the generalization of the sample to the whole population. From sample, we have to make decision about the population. But the statistical methods that are developed to make the generalization, okay, based on they have considered while developing the method, they have considered that the data is random. So actually it is not, if I use judgment sampling, you should not go for inferential statistics or generalization part. Okay, you can use descriptive statistics, that is no problem, but you cannot go for generalization part. You cannot use t-test, f-test like this, that are called inferential statistics. Okay, because these methods are developed by considering that my data is randomly selected. Okay, so you should not apply these methods when your data is not collected by using probability sampling. Okay, now probability sampling. Here all the sampling units have the probability of selecting in the sample. Here all the sampling units has some probability of selecting the sample. Here during the process of selecting the samples, the investigator has nothing to do it. The influence of investigator is minimum. Okay, there we have to select the sample randomly. Okay, now there are a number of sampling methods are there: simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, systematic sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling, probability proportional to size sampling. So I will discuss all the sampling method one by one. So first of all, simple random sampling. When equal probability of selection is attested to each sampling unit at each draw, the sampling procedure is known as simple random sampling. So when all the sampling units has equal sums of this of selection, then it is called as sampling simple random sampling. So suppose this is the population in the left hand side. Now each and every person of this population has equal sums of being selected in the population. Of all of them have equal size. Okay, if there are n units, suppose in the population we have the size of the population is n. So then the probability of selection of each unit is 1 by n. So suppose this is our population. This is I have a population size of 12. Okay, so all the 12 individual subjects have equal sums of being selected. Okay, so this is called simple random sampling. Okay, now let us go for an example. Calculate the prevalence of tooth decay among 1200 children attending school. Calculate the prevalence of tooth decay among 1200 children attending school. So suppose I want to select a sample of size 100. First of all, what I have to do? First of all, we have to make a sampling frame. I need to make a list of all the students and giving them a unique number. Okay, list all the children attending the school. Each children assigned the number 1 to 1200. Just like I have already shown you how to make a sample frame. Okay, randomly selected 100 numbers between 1 to 1200. So I have to select randomly 100 numbers between 1 to 1200. So advantages of simple random sampling. It is very simple because every unit of the population has equal chance of being included in the sample. The sample is assured of being representative. Okay, because every unit has an equal chance, then it means that the sample is a representative sample of the population. Estimates are easy to calculate. Sample size calculation is easy. Okay, so these are some advantages of simple random sampling. Now, this disadvantage: all enumeration units in the population must be identified and labeled prior to sampling. This is the main thing. All an enumeration unit in the population must be identified and labeled. That means, what is this line says? It line says that first of all, we have to make a sampling frame. We have to make a list of all the population, and in most of the time, it is not possible to find a list of the people. Practically, suppose I want to conduct a study on students of Dibrugarh University. So it will be not very difficult for me to make a list of the person. Suppose I want to conduct a study on the infant mortality, right? So for that, I need to find all the list of all infant mortality of Dibrugarh district. So then I have to find out construct a list of all the deliveries made during 1 year or 5 years. So that is very difficult. So in most of the cases, it will mean when we conduct some community survey, so it will be difficult for us to survey, make a list of to make a sampling frame. Sample individual is highly dispersed. This suggests that visiting each of the sample unit may be time consuming. So suppose the geographical area is very difficult. So not difficult, very huge. Your study area is very huge. Then you have to. So if I use simple random sampling, that your selected persons may be widely dispersed. Then it will be very difficult for you to go all the individual and do the survey. Okay. Minority subgroup of interest may not be presented in the sample in sufficient number of the study. This is also very important. Minority subgroups of interest in the population may not be present in the sample in sufficient numbers for the study. Suppose it says that when our population is heterogeneous, suppose Dibrugarh district is divided into so a lot of people are there, a lot of different tribes, caste people are there. Suppose I collect a sample, and some tribes are representation of some tribes is very less. Representation of some types is very less. Then it will does not give a reliable sample. It ignores prior information that may be related to the variable being studied. Okay, so there are a lot of disadvantages also of simple random sampling. In that case, we have to use some other sampling method. Why we have so many sampling methods are available? Because none of the methods is perfect. In certain situations, some methods are good. In certain situations, some methods are useful. Okay, so we have to select the proper method by considering the proper situation. That is the main thing. How to draw a random sample. So there are two methods. One is lottery method. One is random number table. I think there is no point in discussing about lottery method. Let us discuss about random number table. So for suppose random number table, I will show you how to use random number table. Random number table, suppose population size is 300, sample size is 10. I want to find the population size is, so this is the suppose population size. Okay, this is the population, 300 population. I make a list of giving each all the person a unique number. So I have to first, before using simple random sampling, I have to make a list of this like this, right? Then so this is number. So this is number of units in the population according to the number of digits in the size of the population. In this case, number will be 001. Why 001? Because we have 3-digit number. Population is a 3-digit number, so I have to take 3 digits like this. Okay. Select any page of the random number table. Okay. So you will find the random number table at the back of the every statistical book. I think you have seen it if you use statistics. So random number table. So I have to suppose there are so we have to select one page randomly. First of all, read the number starting from any column, row or diagonally according to the number of digits in the size of the population. So I will show you how to draw. So this is a random number table. So here a lot of numbers are there. All the numbers are randomly generated. All the numbers are separated. This is not like this 97,327. These all numbers are randomly generated. This is 9, 7 like this. These all are separated. Okay. As our population has 300 number, 3 digit number, so I will take it 3 digit like this. So 973. Okay. I can start from here. I can start from here. From any place you can start. Suppose I want to start from here also. Okay. Suppose I want to start from the what is the column number? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are how many in this column? I have 5 columns here, 10 columns here, 5 columns like this. So I want to start from 21 columns. So they are up from here to here. There are 20 columns, 5, 5, 5, 5. So this is the first. So I will take this first 3 digits. Okay. So 306. 306 is higher than 300. So I have make a list of 1 to 300 now. 306 is higher than 300, so I will not take this one. Second one you see 207, 270. That means 270 number individually is selected in the sample. Then 993 is also higher than 300, so I have to ignore it. Then 421, it is also higher than 300, I have to ignore it. 881, I also have to ignore it because it is more than 300. Then 632, it is also higher than 300, so I have to ignore it. Then 221, so that means 221 number individually selected in the sample like this. Okay, so I have to move on like this until I reach 10 sample size. So this is a very easy method. So you can use simple random sampling, random number tables. You can find this table in the back of any statistical book. I think in most of the statistical book you will find this random numbers. Okay, so I think you have understand how to draw random numbers from simple from random number table. You can start from here also. You can go like this also. I have gone vertically now. You can go horizontally also like this. 772, it is higher than 300. 778 higher than 300. 554 higher than 300. And like this, you can go this way also and this way also. No problem. Okay. So this is the way you can select random numbers from random number table. Now we can do the same thing in Excel also. I'll show how we can find random number. Hello.
মই ঠিকে পাই আছো বাৰু আন কোনোবাই যদি নাই কোৱা
আমি পাই আছো
স্যার ঠিকে আছে তেতিয়াহ'লে কোনোবা এজনৰ অসুবিধা হ'ব পাৰে আপুনি কন্টিনিউ কৰক স্যাৰ
প্ৰব্লেম হোৱা নাই নহয় না আকৌ হেল্ল'
নাই হোৱা স্যাৰ নাই হোৱা স্যাৰ
ওকে ওকে
নাই ঠিকে শুনি আছো
Okay, now I will show you how with the help of Excel we can find the simple random sampling. Okay, we can use there are 2 formulas are there in Excel to draw random numbers. One is random rand, 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 and one is rand between. Okay, and in parentheses we have to write bottom and top. Okay, And in data analysis, there is an option in Excel. There is a toolkit in Excel with the help of which we can do data analysis. I will show you that also. Okay. Now let us find out system. Okay. Now this is Excel. I think everybody knows about this. To write any formula in Excel, any calculation in Excel, we have to first click the equal sign. If I click equal sign, then Excel will know that this is a formula. So 56 into suppose 46 like this. We can do any calculation. Okay. I think most of the people know about this. So to write any formula, we have to first click equal sign. Okay. Now I first use the formula rand. Okay. So rand, suppose random, I write random. So let us write rand equal RAND, rand. Okay. Bracket, enter. Okay. Okay. So a random number is generated, right? Now, if you drag it, you do any operation, this formula runs again and again. Okay. The values will change every time. So let us drag it. Okay, so this is the random, these are the random numbers generated, right? Now let us copy it, because you see first value changes every time we do some operation, this value changes. So to make it static, we just copy it and make a paste special. Okay, this is a formula. This what we did, this is a formula. You see in the formula bar, this is not a value actually, this is a formula. So if I run it every time, the value changes. That's why to make it static, we paste it as a value, paste special values, right? Okay, now it becomes okay. Now delete this one, random rand. Okay, now what we do, we sort these values. So data filter, so sort by random. Okay, so from lower to high, we sort this random number. This also sorted. So first 10, our sample size is 10 now. So first 10, these 10 samples these 10 samples are selected. So 125 number person is selected, 228 number person is selected, 49 number person selected, 165 number person selected. This will be done like this. You can use some different way also, no problem. So I will show you one more time. We use rand. So rand, the function is rand, bracket, enter. Okay, so random number is generated. So let us drag it for all the values. Okay, now you see every time we do the function, the values changes, right? So now you see it becomes 375. So what we do to make it static, I just paste the values, copy it and paste values. This is no longer become a formula. Okay, so delete. Now rand. Okay, then I have to sort it. Sort. Okay, then sort rand by sort by rand. Okay, now the first 10 people is selected for the. You can take the last 10 people also. You can take middle 10 people also, no problem. So these are the first. So 52 number person selected, 138 number person is selected, 296 number person is selected. So like this, you can use the rand function, right? Now we can use the second function, rand between. Rand between, this is the second function, rand between. In parentheses, we have to write top and bottom and top. So here, let us write the function rand betwen, rand between, bracket, bottom. Bottom means this one. Okay, bottom, top. That means I have to select this bottom. Sorry. Bottom is 1, Bottom means 1, 2, top means 300. So I have to select random numbers between 1 and 300. So 70. So you see 70 number of persons selected. So drag it for 10 numbers. So this is the values. You see the first value was previously it was 70. Now it changes. So I have run the formula again. Now that's why it changes again. So it changes every time we run the formula. So to make it statics, just copy it and paste test values. You see now it remains constant because we paste them as values. Okay. Previously it was a formula. It was a formula. So you see these are the persons selected. 174. That means 174 number of people is selected. This five number person he is selected. Okay. Then 174 number of persons selected. 174. This one. You have to go to them and collect the information. The selected person. Okay. Now we can do the same thing by using this data analysis option. You see here we have a data analysis option. Data analysis. This is a very effective tool in statistics in Excel. We can do a lot of statistical calculation by using this data analysis option. Okay. If I click on data analysis, you see there are a lot of statistical measures are here. You can use all of them. ANOVA is there. Two-factor replication, ANOVA, correlation, covariance, descriptive statistics, exponential smoothing, F-test, Fourier histogram, moving average, random number generation, rank and percentiles, regression, sampling, and then t-test are there, z-test is there. So this can be installed. This can be very easily installed if you go here, then go to Excel option. If we don't have this one, I'll show you how to install this. Go to this, then go to Excel option, then click on add-ins, right? Click on add-ins. Then you select this. This is analysis tool pack. You see here, you select this and click go here. Okay, I'll show you one more time. Click this, this Excel option, then go to add-ins, right? Then analysis tool pack, then click go here. Okay, this is Excel add-ins, right? So by using here, we have a lot of statistical options. Now by using this data analysis option, I will find the random numbers, right? So for that, we have to go to data analysis, then go to sampling. There is an option called sampling here. You see here, sampling. Okay, click. Then input range. So input range is this one, the list. Okay, so I select this one. First of all, in input range, you have to click on this input range and select this. Okay, then random. You have to write here the number of samples. I need 10 samples, right? Okay, I need 10 samples. Okay, so you have to write 10 here. Okay, then 1 minute. So go to data analysis, sampling, input range. Sorry, 1 minute. Input range. Okay. Then number of samples 10. Now I want the data should be generated here, right? So I have to give output range, select the output range, click on output range and click this and click here. I need the samples here only. This is so here, click OK. So these are the random samples generated. So 81 number of person is selected, 273 number of person is selected, 245 number of person is selected. So you have to go to them and collect your data, right? So this is the way you can draw random sample by using the random number table also, and by using Excel also. You can use SPSS also. In SPSS also we can do random numbers, generate random numbers. Okay, now let us move to stratified random sampling. So this is one of the important sampling method. In this type of sampling method, first the whole population is divided into homogeneous group according to characteristics of interest. For example, sex, age, geographic location, etc. These groups are termed as strata. So suppose I want to conduct a study on, suppose, mathematical ability of students of Dibrugarh University, right? Mathematical ability. Okay. Now, if I use random number, suppose in simple random, if I use simple random sampling, suppose it happens like that, then most of the people comes from the science stream, because we don't have anything to do with the sampling process, not selection process. So most of the people comes from the selected. Most of the people selected are from the science category. So if I take the mathematical ability, then we can find that the mathematical ability is very good because most of the people are from science. Okay, the representation from the arts and commerce streams are suppose very less. So in that case, my population is not homogeneous. I have students from different streams, arts, science, commerce. So in that case, the simple random sampling may not be good. In that case, we have to do what? We have to make some strata, groups. Suppose we make strata of a group of students of science stream, from art stream, from commerce stream, management stream, engineering stream, like that. Okay, so that are called strata. Before doing the sampling, we group the people into some homogeneous group. So one the students belonging to arts groups are kept in the same strata, so they are homogeneous in terms of their stream. Okay, so this type of sampling is called stratified sampling. So in this type of sampling method, first the whole population is divided into homogeneous groups according to a characteristics of interest. For example, sex, age, geographic location, etc. These are called strata. Right? So from each strata we have to select sample. From this first strata 1 we selected sample, from strata 2 we have to select sample, from strata 3 we have selected sample. So the representation from all the strata will be proportional, good, and it gives a representative sample of the population. So in most of the cases when your population is not homogeneous, it is heterogeneous, then you should go for stratified sampling, right? So you see here, sampling frame is divided into groups: age, sex, socioeconomic status. So here we have divided the groups into men and women, and from men we have to take sample, from women also we have to take sample. Okay. How to draw samples using stratified random sampling? The population is first divided into groups or strata according to a characteristics of interest. Okay. Suppose age, sex, geographic location, etc. A sample is drawn, is then selected from each stratum using simple random sampling. In order to obtain a highest precision, elements within the strata should be homogeneous as possible, while stratum to strata variation should be relatively large. Let us go to this. So suppose this is our population. This is our population. This population is divided into some homogeneous strata. This population is divided into some homogeneous strata. Okay, so this is the first strata, this is the second strata, this is the case strata, and from each strata we have to take a sample, right? From this strata we have to take sample, from this strata so we will have representation from all the groups, all the different homogeneous groups. Okay. So suppose is an example, stratified random sample. Calculate the prevalence of tooth decay among 1200 children attending school with equal representation from males and female. Sample size female. So we have a children of population size is 1200. From this 1200 student, I have to draw a random sample of 100. Okay. Now, first of all, I have to check how many out of 1200, how many males and how many females. There are 540 males and 660 females. Okay, so I have to make a separate list, separate sampling frame from both the groups. From males 1 to 500, I have to make a sampling frame. From females 101 to 660, I have to make a sampling frame, right? Then this is called a proportional allocation. Here, number of males can be selected by n is the sample size, means what? 100. Okay, and capital N is the 1200 is the population size, and Ni is the size of the population of male students. So it is 540. So 45. Okay, this is the formula. This is very simple proportional allocation. And for females also, this by using the same formula, we can calculate the number of population. Total, you see, 45 plus 55, total is 100. So sample size is 100. So we have representation from both the groups proportionally, proportional according to the proportion. So I think you understand this formula. It's very simple. This is called proportional allocation. So there are some advantages and disadvantages are there. Using the sampling, same sampling fraction for all the strata ensures proportional representation. So it gives a proportional representation of the whole population. Adequate representation of the minority groups. It says the same thing. Stratification by varying the sampling fraction between strata is required. Information concerning estimate within each stratum is easily obtainable. For either administrative or logistic representation, it may be easier to select stratified sample than the simple random sample. So administratively, it will be easier for us to select the simple random sample. Okay. Now disadvantages: stratified random sampling requires advanced knowledge of the characteristics of the population used for stratification. So it needs the advanced knowledge of the characteristics. So I have to first identify the people with homogeneous groups. Okay, homogeneous characters. Suppose I want to divide the whole population according to the socio-economic status. But first of all, what I have to do, I have to learn about the socio-economic status of each and every people. Nah? That's also will be a big problem. I have to collect the information about socio-economic status before conducting the main study, so that I can divide them into different socio-economic groups. I need to have the information now. So for that is a disadvantage. The sampling fraction of the entire population has to be prepared separately for each term. So sampling fraction is always a problem. We have to create a sampling fraction. Okay, stratified sampling may not be less expensive than the simple random sampling. Okay, so these are some disadvantages, and these are actually you see here. In this group, we draw N1 samples. This N1 samples is to draw this N1 sample, we have to use simple random sampling. To draw this N2 number of sample, we have to use simple random sampling. Actually, in stratified random sampling, what we do, we divide the whole population into homogeneous group, and within the group, we have to draw the sample by using simple random sampling. Okay, we are using simple random sampling, nothing else. But before that, we are stratifying the data into some homogeneous groups. Now, systematic sampling. In some sampling situations, especially those with large population, it is often time-consuming to select SRS. Then, alternative approach to SRS is the systematic sampling procedure. Here, the first element is selected at random, and the rest are selected according to some predefined pattern. So you see, in systematic sampling, we first make a stand the person like this in a line. Okay, so first person is selected randomly, then every k number of person after that we have to select. Suppose every 3 persons. Suppose first this person is selected randomly, then every third person. 1, 2, 3. This is selected. 1, 2, 3. This is selected. It will be selected periodically. Okay, it will be selected periodically. Okay, so calculate the prevalence. So there is an example. Calculate the prevalence of tooth decay among 1200 children attending a school. List all the children attending at school. Randomize the list to avoid the bias. Each children assign a number 1 to 1200. Then sampling fraction is 12. So here we have to calculate the sampling fraction to know what should be our period of selection? Okay, randomly selected a number between 1 to 8, 12, and every randomly selected. I'll give an example of this. Okay, select every 12 person standing. Okay, so let us do this in Excel. We can do it in Excel. Okay, I'll show you how to do systematic sampling in Excel. So in Excel, what we have to do, we have to find first population sizes here. Suppose we make this list. Okay, we make this list here. What we have to do, the first person will be selected randomly, right? The first person is selected randomly. Okay, then the others will be selected according to a predefined pattern. Okay, so population size is what? 300. Sample size is what? 10. Okay, so interval will be what? Interval means this. You see here, interval means population size divided by the sample size. Okay, it will give us the interval. So population size is 300 divided by sample size is 10. Okay, so interval is 30, right? Now the first person is selected randomly, so I have to use the function ran between 1 to 30. So first person should be selected randomly from 1 to 30. 30 is the interval. So you see here, I have to randomly select a number between 1 to 12. The 12 is the interval here. You see, we also call it sampling fraction. So from 1 to the sampling interval, I have to select one person randomly. So by using ran between, I select this person. So 16 number person is selected. This is selected randomly. So let us make it fixed by using the special. So 16, right? The first person is selected. That is called 16 number of person is selected. I selected. Okay. Next person will be what? Every 30th person. My interval is what? 30, na? So every 30th person after that will be selected. So it will be like this, equal this 16. 16 means F2. F2 means what? The 16 value is in F2. So I write F2. Okay. F2 plus 30. Every 30th person. So second person is 46 number person is selected. Then drag it. So this is my sample. Okay. This is a systematic sample. Okay. I'll show you one more time. First of all, what we do, we find a random number between 1 and the sampling interval. Interval is what? 30. Here in this test, 30. Why? 300 divided by the population size divided by the sample size 30. Okay. So every 30%. So 16 is my random number. So put 16 here. Then every 30th people. Every 30th people. Okay. So it will be 16 plus 30. So drag it, then drag it. Every 30th people. So these are the list of 10 numbers. So 76 number of person is selected, 106 number of person is selected, 136 number of person is selected, 196 number of person is selected. Okay, so it can be done very easily by using this data analysis also. We can also draw random samples. By using this systematic sample also, we can draw a. So for that, we have to go to data analysis. Okay, then sampling. Okay, data analysis, then the same procedure. Okay, then select the input range. Input range already selected. Again, drag it. Okay, then we have to select period. It is a periodic data, na? Every 30th person. The period is 30. We select period 30. Okay. Okay, now I have to do the sampling here. So I select this, then click here. Click OK. You see, These are the 10 samples. So 30th number of person is selected, 60th number of person is selected, 98, 120, 150, 180. So by using data analysis also we can do systematic sampling. We can draw the samples by using systematic sampling. Okay. So I think you have understood. In systematic sampling what we do, we first make a line of persons. We have to arrange them in a particular order. Then we have to, first person is selected randomly, then every kth number of person is selected till we exhaust the sample size, right? Now systematic sampling actually not good for studying sampling human individuals. It is very much used in studying in forest research. In forest research, this sampling method is very much used, because for the trees are in a particular, in the forest, trees are in lines or like this, na? So for studying trees or houses also, house in the villages, the house are in a particular line. So in that case, for selecting the houses also, we use systematic sampling. Okay. World Health Organization also for studying the vaccination of children recommend one multi-stage cluster sampling. In that sampling also, for selecting the household, they have recommend systematic sampling for selecting the household. Okay. Now let's move to the next sampling method, clustering. It's a very important. I think practically this is more usable than the simple random sampling method. Cluster sampling is used actually when we don't have the sampling frame. Okay, I'll show you why. Cluster sampling, the population is first divided into separate groups of elements called strata, called clusters. In stratified sampling also, we divided the population. In stratified sampling or in cluster sampling also, we have to divide the population. But in here that in stratified sampling we divided in strata, here we divided in clusters. What is the difference? In strata means they are homogeneous, but in cluster they are heterogeneous. Okay, and clusters are basically you make of geographical groups. Actually, most of the time it is the geographical groups. Suppose a village or a block like this. So so it will be, clusters are more as it should be heterogeneous, and clusters should be stratified strata should be homogeneous. The SRS of the cluster is taken. Elements within the sample cluster are the elements included in the sample. Okay. So we have divided the whole population into 6 strata. One, this is the first strata, this is the second strata, third strata, clusters. Then this is cluster, this is a cluster. So from this cluster, we have randomly selected 2 clusters, this cluster and this cluster. And we have to, this is 2 clusters, then we have to study the person living within these clusters. Okay. It provides best result whenever the elements within the cluster are heterogeneous. You see, that is the basic difference between strata and cluster. The strata should be homogeneous as possible, cluster should be as heterogeneous as possible. In case if each cluster is alike, sampling a small number of cluster will provide a good estimates. Okay, so this is the difference. Here in stratified sampling, what we do, we divide the whole groups. Okay, and from each group we take sample. From here we take sample, from here we take sample, from here we take sample. From all the strata we have taken samples. But in cluster sampling, we divide the whole population into some clusters, and we select 2 clusters, not all the clusters. Okay, because it is homogeneous, na? This is heterogeneous. Because I'll explain what is this. Suppose we have divided the whole population, whole students, according to some stream of study. This is suppose science, arts, commerce, engineering, management, or suppose like this something, suppose music or humanities like this. So from all the groups I have select samples. But here this is suppose this is a block, suppose. So this is a block. This is suppose Dibrugarh district has suppose 7 blocks. So this is a block, this is a block, this is a block. All are divided into different clusters. And then we don't study all the clusters, just as like stratified sampling. We take 2 clusters and we study these 2 clusters. Because why it is possible? Because in this block we will find all the type of people. Now here we have different people belonging to different tribes, people belonging to different castes are there. In this block also we have people from different tribes or castes are there, because these groups are heterogeneous and these groups are homogeneous. So we don't need to study all the clusters. Okay, we just need to study only 2 clusters here. I think you understand this. Now multi-stage cluster. Multi-stage means if we don't have the sampling frame, we don't have the sampling frame, then what we do? We go stepwise. Okay. Suppose, so we conducted a study on vaccination. Okay. So what we do? I'll show you. We conducted a study on vaccination. Okay. For that, I need to find the list of people who are. I need to find the list of people before that. To find the vaccination of children, we need to have the list of all the children, all the children residing in Dibrugarh district. Okay, we need to find the list of all the children, but it is not possible for us to get the list. So what we do? We don't have the sampling frame. So what we do? We do the sampling process in stage wise. At the first stage, what we do? At the first stage, what we do? We draw a. We take a. In the first stage, what we do? We selected districts. So if I want to conduct the whole study in suppose all the Assam, so it is not possible to study all the districts of Assam. So what we do in the first stage, I have to select the districts. So I have suppose 33 districts. So from 30 districts, I find, suppose I sample 10 districts. Okay, from districts, then from this 10 district, suppose I have to select the villages. Okay, from all the 3 districts, I select, suppose from each district, I select 20 villages. This is the first stage. At the first stage, what we do? Why we're doing it stage wise? Because we don't have the sampling frame of all the children. So what we have to do? We have to first go stage wise. Okay. So first of all, what we do? Suppose our studies area is Assam. So what we do? It is not possible to study all the districts. So at first, suppose we take a list of all the 30 districts. Suppose like this: district 1, district 2, district 3, like this. And from district, I have to select up to 33. 33 districts are there. From 33 districts, I will select 10 districts by using simple random sampling. Suppose here I use SRS, simple random sampling. I use SRS method. I select the districts. From each district, suppose after selecting of district, from each district, I select 20 villages. This is my second stage. Right? This is my second stage. In the villages, from each district, I select 20 villages. This can be done by using, you can use any method. I prefer to use PPS sampling. I will explain what is PPS sampling after this. So PPS means probability proportional to size sampling. PPS. So it is wrongly written. PPS sampling, right? PPS sampling. So villages are usually selected by using PPS sampling. From each villages, I have to select, suppose 7 households. Okay, 7 households. This is the third stage, right? And from each household, I have to select the baby or the infant. Okay, so to get the ultimate, this is the ultimate This is the ultimate sampling unit. This is the ultimate sampling unit. Okay, this infant is the ultimate sampling unit, but we don't have the list of the sampling unit now, baby. So I have to go stage wise. So first we select the districts, and for selecting the district I use simple random sampling. In the second stage I have selected the villages by using suppose PPS sampling. PPS means probability proportional to size sampling. I'll show you what is PPS sampling. Then in the third stage I select the households. So for households I can use systematic sampling. Systematic sampling, right? This is my first time in Notepad, so the writing is not proper. So systematic sampling. So for selecting household, we usually prefer systematic sampling, and from these households we have to select the babies. So we will get the ultimate sampling unit by in 4 stages: first district, then village, then households, then this baby. Okay, so this way we can do stratified source multi-stage sampling. Okay, so this is also an example here. First of 25 districts, 10 districts are selected by SRS, then boys, then in this stage it is done by stratified sampling: boys school, girls school. Okay, then male students, female student, like this. So it can be done in stage wise if you don't have the sampling frame. So you have to go stage wise, right? Now let us move to probability proportional to size sampling. Probability proportional to size sampling is a very, very familiar method. It is used to select villages, okay, villages or households like this. Probability proportional to size is a sampling technique in which the probability of selecting a sampling unit, that is village, zone, district, health center, is proportional to the size of the population. It gives a probability. It is actually, it is suppose I want to select a village. So, okay, it just probability of selection of a particular village depends on the population of the village. Okay, in simple random sampling, the probability of selection for all the individuals are same, but here it is not same. It depends on the population size of the village, right? So this is the procedure. Calculate the sample size for each strata, list the primary sampling unit and their population sizes. First of all, I have to list the villages and their population sizes. Calculate the cumulative sum of the population sizes. I will show you in Excel how to do this. Determine the number of clusters to be sampled. Okay. Then first of all, I have to make a list of the villages. Okay, with their populations. I have to make a list of the villages and their populations. Okay. Then calculate the cumulative sum of populations. Then I have to find the cumulative sum of the population. Then determine the number of clusters that will be sampled. The number of clusters that we will have to sample, I have to decide. Okay. Then divide the population by the number of clusters. Divide the population by number of clusters to be sampled to get the sampling interval. So I have to find the sampling interval by dividing the total population by the number of clusters. Choose a random number between 1 to SI. This is like systematic sampling. Choose a random number between 1 and SI. SI means sampling interval. It is called the random start. Okay. The first cluster to be sampled contains cumulative population. So the others will be selected like this. I'll show you in Excel. Okay. Suppose these are our villages. So I have 30 villages, right? And these are their corresponding populations. You can get this very easily in, suppose somebody want to do this PPS sampling for Shivsagar district. It can be very easily downloaded from the India Census website. In the Census India website, we will have the list of villages with their respective populations. It is very easily we can get it. Okay. So this is the number of villages: first village, second village, third village, fourth village, fifth village, sixth village, like this. And this is the size. Okay. Now what we have to do, I have to find first the cumulative sum of the population sizes. So cumulative sum, right? So for finding the cumulative sum, I think everybody knows about cumulative sum. So cumulative sum, this is equal to this. The first value will be same. Okay. Second value will be this plus this. Third value, okay, this plus this. So it can be written as this plus this. Okay. The third value will be this plus this. Okay, that is cumulative, na? So drag it. You see, so total is equal to that total cumulative. Okay, so this is the cumulative sum, right? Now what we have to do, cumulative total is what? 20,000. So total population in all the villages is 20,000, right? Villages to be sampled. Suppose I want to sample 10 villages, right? I have to sample 10 villages. So write 10 here. Now sampling interval, you see, divide the total population by the number of clusters to get the sampling interval. Divided the number of population, so this is the number of population divided by the village clusters 10. Okay, I'll get the sampling interval. So what is the sampling interval? 2000. 2000 is the sampling interval. So next step is to draw a random number between 1 to sampling interval. Draw a random number between 1 to sampling interval. So I have to draw a random number between. So I can use rand between 1 to 2000. Sampling interval is 2000. Okay, it is 1582. So copy it so that it will not get changed. Excess values. Okay, so this is by random start. Okay, this is the random start. Choose the number between 1 to SI. It is called a random start. So my random start is what? My random start is 1582. Okay. Then calculate the series RS plus SI, RS plus 2SI like this. Okay. Then first, this is my random start. Random start is 1582. 1582. Second one is, second value will be RS plus SI. RS plus SI. RS plus SI equal to, this is RS plus SI is what? 2000. Second one is what? RS plus 2SI. That means RS plus 2SI. That means this plus 2000. So this value plus 2000. Okay, so draw, drag it. You will get 10 values like this. Now, how we can select the samples? The clusters are selected those whose cumulative sum is just greater than the value of the series. Just greater than the value of the series. Now you go like this. So this is 1582 now. Just greater than 1582 is what? 1583. So this village is selected. You see, the cluster are selected those cumulative sum is just greater than the value of the calculated series. So just greater than this value will be selected. Okay. For the second village, it will be 3582. 3582. Just greater than 3582 is what? This one. This is selected. Then 5582. 5582. Just greater than 5582 is what? This one. So this is selected. Then 7582. 7582. So this is 7582. Just greater than 7582 is this. This is selected. Then 9582. 9582 is this. Greater than this is this. Then 11582. 11582. So this one. This is higher than this. So this is selected. Then 13582. 13582. 13582. This one. This is there. Then 11582. 11582. So this is. Then 17582. 17582. This one. Then 19. This is. So these 10 villages are selected. Okay. So this is a very, very good sampling method. I have personal experience about this, and it gives a very good sample, very good representative sample. I have used it a lot, and we have conducted vaccination survey. In vaccination survey, we have used this one, and it gives a very, very good for selecting villages. This is a very, very good sampling method, right? So this is a multi-stage cluster sampling. Suppose I want to women's name of the study, women's role in household in economic decision making in Assam. Suppose I want to conduct this study. So geographical area is Assam. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to select all the list of all the women of Assam. I need to have the list of all the women of Assam, but this is not possible, no? So that's why first is that we have to go stage wise. At first stage, one district is selected by using simple random sampling or judgment sampling. Second stage, required number of villages, wards are selected by using PPS sampling. In the third stage, households are selected by using cluster systematic sampling. So when we don't have the sampling frame, we have to go stage wise, right? Okay, and we can go for the collection. So summary. So observational study. Observational studies without intervention. That we have. This is a summary of my speech. What is the time? So this is my summary. So observational study. There are two types of studies. One is observational study. One is experimental study. Observational study means studies without intervention. Experimental studies means studies with intervention. Okay, I think you have understand what is intervention. Then descriptive study, we study who, what, when, and where. And then analytical study, we study why and how. Okay. And census decision based on information collected from each and every unit of the population. And sampling decision based on information collected from each and every unit of the sample. Okay. And sampling techniques, probability sampling, representative and results are generalized. You see, what is the main advantage of probability sampling? In probability sampling, you can generalize the results for the whole population. You can use the inferential statistical methods. In non-probability sampling, actually the statistical methods are not developed for non-probability sampling. The basic assumption for developing the statistical methods that they are if the data are collected randomly. Okay. So advantages, representative and the results are generalizable. Disadvantages, expensive, logistic, difficult, and time intensive. Non-probability sampling, advanced, easy, quick, and quick access to certain groups. Disadvantages, non-representative and results are not generalized. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your detailed session on sampling methods and techniques. Now, I would like to open the house for discussion. Dear participants, if you have any questions, now is the time. You can unmute yourself and ask the question yourself. Alternatively, you can type your question in the chat box and we will take it up and our speaker sir will address your queries.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sir. It's for you, sir, Barman, sir. I am Dr. Padmakshi from the Department of History, Dumduma College. So it was a very illuminating lecture. I heard it, and sir, I just wanted to ask you something on snowball sampling, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you hear me, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Sir. Sir, I'm aware you are a person from statistics, and I know, sir, this method of sampling is an important technique adopted by you, I suppose, sir, for statistical sampling, sir. So my question to you is, sir, how do we adopt in like this sampling method in the subjects like history? Because I'm a student of history, I'm the teacher in history, and while doing a research in this field, so is it possible that I add such sampling techniques in historical like research? Because, sir, I was doing a project on this marginalized population in Assam. So there was like this thing that while doing a research on these people, where their cognitive and emotional levels are always being challenged, sir. You know that. So they are not very open in some certain questions that come to their mind, or what we ask as researchers, they don't like to disclose. So there is always a conflict of disclosing, sir. So how do we tackle these problems in, like, in such sampling, while doing such samples, like taking interview account of this? So can you throw some light on this, sir?
Actually, that's a very difficult thing. Actually,
Huh.
sampling methods actually they do not consider that thing
Mm,
to how to tackle the people. Okay,
mm, mhm.
tackling of people is actually it needs lot of training actually.
So
I
like,
have also faced a lot of problems while conducting surveys. I have surveyed more than 2,000 households.
yes, sir,
Um,
it's very difficult because they don't
very
disclose. So yeah,
yes,
they
yes.
don't like to disclose. So like you have talked about, spoken about the drug addicts, like you have spoken about the sex workers, and also if we are going to conduct a research on those lines, so how do we like face such difficulties, and how do we
I-
tackle?
Actually, in respondent-driven sampling,
Yes, sir.
that's a incentive system, na. You have to
Yes, sir.
pay for
Mhm.
giving the information. So in
Yes,
that
sir.
case,
Yes.
it was not very difficult to collect the data.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in
Mm.
that questionnaire we have used, there are a lot of controversial questions are there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the questionnaire
Um,
also. Yeah.
very controversial questions are there, but
Yeah.
as they were paid, na, that's
Mm.
why they have given the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But
So is it?
actually, yeah, go on.
Yes, sir. So is it like, since you've been paid, or like you have to do a survey like that? So is it like they must reveal, or it's like we just assume certain things?
Actually, you have to. You don't actually. What I most of the time, what we do, we don't open up the questionnaire. We ask them.
Uh-huh.
We talk to them. In actually, what we are talking about, these are all quantitative research. In
Huh.
qualitative, there is another portion of research is called qualitative research. In qualitative research,
Mhm.
researcher do there is one key informant sampling was there in qualitative
Yes,
research.
sir. Yes, sir.
The researcher, they what they did do, they go to the community and live there and
Yes,
experience
sir.
their.
Yes, sir.
So that is also a way of collecting the information.
Yeah, but you have to gel with the community. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to. Yeah, that's important, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Um, Thank you, sir, for your deliberation. We have a question, two questions actually in the chat box. One is from Manash Pratim Goswami. So he wants to, so his question is to throw some light on the methods of determining sample size and what is the right sample size in absence of sampling frame.
No, actually, sample size there is a different topic. Okay, for calculating the sample size, we have lot of different formulas are available, and for each situation, suppose I want to find the prevalence of a particular disease, so for that, a different sample size method is available. For finding the proportion, if I want to find the mean of expenditure, suppose for finding the mean, we have a different sampling methods are available. I think you can calculate the samplings in internet also. There are online sample size. There are certain options are there where you can calculate the formulas, but you have to choose the accurate formula. There are actually I don't have remember all the formulas right now, but there are number of formulas are available for different situations. For calculating the suppose prevalence, for calculating the mean, for standard deviation, there is a different formula. For calculating finite population, there is a different formula. You have to choose the proper formula according to your objective.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I hope, Manas sir, your question is answered. Next question is from Manish Kumar, sir. He asks, sir, please tell how we can select suitable sample size from population.
That for selecting the suitable sample size, we need to first find the calculate the sample size. For calculating the sample size, we have to have lot of sample size formula. That is a different topic of discussion actually. To have a good representative sample, we need to have a proper sampling method, we need to have a proper sample size, then only we can get a good representative sample. And for getting a proper sample size, you need to have the according to your objective, we have to use the proper formula. As I have already told, if I want to find the prevalence of a particular suppose character, then I have to go for a particular formula. Okay, the formula is I forget Z square PQ by alpha square. That's there is a formula for calculate. If I want to compare the mean of two different groups, for there is a different formula. So that's a different point of discussion. I think you got my point.
Thank you, sir. I hope that answers Manish sir's query. Next, we have a question from Suman Landi. He asks, what is the main difference between snowball sampling and respondent-driven sampling?
So in snowball sampling, we don't give incentive. Okay, in respondent-driven sampling, we give incentive, and respondent sampling is based on proper mathematical method. And I have already shown to you. You see this. Have it is visible my screen? You see here.
Yes, sir.
This you see after wave 7 we reach a equilibrium position. So we have to calculate the equilibrium of this wave. In snowball sampling also you can got this type of curve, but in respondent sampling, if you reach equilibrium position, then it can be considered as a non-probability sampling. That means probability sampling. So you can go for inferential statistics. So there are basic two different things are there. Simple respondent-driven sampling is based on incentive basis. We give incentive, and if I reach the equilibrium position in RDS sampling, then it becomes a simple random. It becomes a probability sampling. But snowball sampling is a non-probability sampling.
Okay, thank you, sir. I hope, Suman sir, you have your answer now. We have, sir, another question from Dhrubajyoti Borgohai, sir. He asks how sampling methods be applied in secondary data.
Suppose I am actually in secondary data, sampling method is already applied. Suppose there was a survey called National Family Health Survey, and we have all the data. So the data collection is already done with sampling method. So we can consider all the informations, right? Okay. So lot of research scholars are publishing papers based on this report of the National Family Health Survey. That report is a secondary data. Okay, I am using the data of that study, but that study data are already collected by using proper sampling method. So we can use them because this is already used by collected by using proper sampling method. Okay.